Hello and welcome to Waltham Watches. No, I am not Kelly Hill. The beautiful Kelly Hill is off today, but with me is the beautiful John Peacock. And
my wife calls me beautiful all the time. You're a real beaut, you are.
So we have an exciting show
Yes, we do. We've
today.
got two very nice guests today. First up on the docket is Matt Pappas. Matt's the president and CEO of a new company over in Woburn, ARCpoint Labs in Woburn, starting a brand new business over there. And we're happy to have Matt with us. Matt's a somewhat new member of the Chamber, and it's always nice to meet some new people here related to the Chamber of Commerce. Matt, can we open up by having you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'd be happy to. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you today. It's exciting to be a new business in Massachusetts and also be a new member of the Waltham Chamber of Commerce. I'm a longtime Massachusetts resident. I went to high school here, graduated from the University of Massachusetts.
You're kidding, I did too.
Oh, did you? Okay.
A couple of years before you.
Yeah, I think a little bit before me. My first job was in downtown Boston working for a financial services company. I live in Arlington with my wife and two teenage twins, both of whom keep us very busy.
On your toes.
And yeah, absolutely. Sure. And I'm also an avid Patriots fan, so I'm looking forward to the start of preseason in a few weeks.
We like you already.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about ARCpoint?
I sure can. So ARCpoint is a nationwide franchise. They've got about 90 locations across the United States. Each franchise is independently owned and operated. My location in Woburn offers a variety of forensic testing services, including drug and alcohol testing, both for employers, athletic organizations, schools, and individuals. For employers, we offer drug and alcohol testing, pre-employment background screening. We also help companies write and implement their workplace drug policies. That's an important aspect of a company's business because those policies have legal implications. For individuals, we offer drug and alcohol testing as well. So if you're a parent and you have a child that you're concerned about with drug abuse, you can come to our facility and have them do a safe and confidential drug screen so that you know what's going on. We also offer DNA testing in cases of paternity as well as immigration.
So you started the business from scratch, but it's a franchise. Did you find that that was helpful in getting it off the ground?
Absolutely. With franchises, you're not going into business by yourself. You've got the support and infrastructure of the franchise company behind you. So there's certainly a risk with starting any kind of business, but with a good franchise backing you, it takes some of the risk out of the equation.
And what motivated you to start the company?
That's a great question. I think I have to trace my earliest motivation back to my father, who was a pharmacist and a small business owner himself. He taught me a lot about how to run and operate a small business and the importance of hard work. On a different level, I was also motivated by the drug abuse problem that we face in this state. I had an opportunity recently to attend Governor Baker's opioid addiction task force meeting, and it's pretty clear that we have an epidemic with regard to drug abuse in Massachusetts. And if my company in some small way can help be part of that solution, then that's my way of giving back.
Okay. You're in a very competitive field. How are you going to deal with that?
So I think we have some natural advantages. One of the advantages that we have is that we are independently owned and operated. We're local here in Massachusetts, so I think the level of service that we can provide companies is higher than what you might see from a national company that doesn't have a local presence here. We also can process drug screens pretty quickly through our facility. Some of the national providers have shifted their focus to more of a clinical focus because the margins are a little bit higher there. And so drug and alcohol testing for them can sometimes be more of a nuisance than anything else, and they get second priority when they go into those offices. In our case, drug and alcohol testing is #1 priority, so we can process people pretty quickly.
Matt, I have a question for you. With the, as you said, the opiate issue is in the forefront. We read about it, we hear about it every night in the news. What advice would you have to parents? Can they get like a testing kit to test at home? Do they call you and bring a sample? How do you get a sample from your kid that you might be thinking that he or she might have an issue?
Sure.
And how do you handle that sort of thing? And what can parents get from you to help them resolve any issue they might have with
Right.
That wasn't in the question and answer.
No, and that's perfectly that's perfectly okay, and that's a great question, and I can answer it I think from two ways. As a parent, I think the most important thing is communication with your children all the time, sitting down at the dinner table, talking to them, finding out what's going on in their lives,
turning off the electronics,
finding out who their friends are. I think that's number one.
Sure.
From an ARCpoint Labs perspective, there's a variety of different types of drug and alcohol testing that we can perform. We can do a hair-based drug test. We can do a fingernail drug test. We can do a urine-based drug test. That can be done with a kit at home. It could also be done in our facility through one of the labs that we partner with. So there's a lot of different options for parents who are facing that potential problem.
Thank you.
Now, what types of companies and organizations need drug testing and alcohol testing?
That's a great question. I think just about any company can use, can benefit from drug and alcohol testing in their workplace. If you're a company with commercial vehicles over 26,000 pounds, you're required by the Department of Transportation to do drug and alcohol testing. In addition to that, companies that fall into the category of a safety-sensitive industry also typically do drug and alcohol testing, although they're not necessarily required to do that by law. Some of those industries include manufacturing, construction, the energy industry, just to name a few. We're also marketing our services to staffing agencies, municipalities, law firms whose clients may need DNA testing for paternity or immigration.
How about police departments? Is that a different issue?
Absolutely. In some cases, police departments are a separate structure from the municipality. In some cases, they're one and the same HR organization. And typically, emergency response like firefighting and police, as well as their recreation departments, typically do drug testing within the municipalities.
What makes you different from, we've heard the controversy over the state drug labs,
right,
and that testing,
right,
where people are dropping the ball and people are doing things that are just not, not on the level.
Yeah, not proper standard.
Yeah, so how do you, I know you don't compare to that,
right,
but are you ever called in by state, local officials to do any?
You know, we haven't yet. The vendors that we partner with, the lab vendors that we partner with are all national companies. They go through a very strict and ongoing certification process to make sure that their lab standards are up to par. And so, you know, we've never had an issue with, you know, a bad result coming back from the lab. But certainly, you know, you've got to be aware of that and make sure that the results are appropriate.
I see.
Yeah, one last question, or maybe not a last question, we may have more. In addition to drug and alcohol testing, what else do you offer for services?
We just introduced a couple of new exciting services. The first one is a service that we offer to physicians who need to monitor medication in their patients. So for example, if you're a doctor who has to prescribe pain medication, you can use this medication monitoring test to make sure that your patient is both taking the pain medication that has been prescribed to them, and more importantly, they're not abusing that medication. So that's one of the new services that we just introduced. The other one is an exciting new service called ARCpoint MD, which provides 24/7 access to US-based, board-certified doctors who can diagnose and treat a variety of different ailments. And we think that's going to be a really valuable service for both companies and employees who are trying to control their healthcare costs and provide easy access to doctors.
What would you, finally, we're down to the last 2 minutes, but
That's
what
okay.
would you,
We can talk fast.
what would you advise, say a small company that has a small number of employees, and are there any drug tests on an annual basis do you recommend that they test, randomly,
Right.
and any issues with employees not wanting to cooperate and
Right.
feeling that their rights of some sort of being
Right.
compromised?
Yeah, absolutely. So it all depends on the need of the company. If you're in a safety-sensitive industry, for example, you're going to do pre-employment drug screens. You're probably going to do random drug screens as well. The random element acts as a deterrent. If you're a smaller employee, you might only do a background screen and a pre-employment drug screen, and that may be sufficient for your purposes. So it really all varies depending on the needs of the company. But that's certainly something that we can help customize for a company.
And people can just call you to find out how you can help them and set up an appointment with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We can help companies of any type.
Okay, before we finish, how about telephone numbers to get in touch with you, and also a website?
So our website is arcpointlabs.com/Woburn, and our phone number is 781-460-6020.
And you're Matt Pappas, the President and CEO.
And my name is Matt Pappas.
I want to thank you an awful lot for being with us today, and best of luck in your new venture.
Thank you.
It's scary,
Thank you,
but
Matt.
best of luck.
Thank you very much.
you.
It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure speaking to both of you.
Thank you very much.